Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Series A, Dhamma Talk number 16. When one practices, especially for people who are practicing for some time with a certain intensity, it's important to be able to see, or at least incline your mind to see the cessations of each and every object of observation. And to be able to see that, one must be able to observe or look or investigate with intensity, quite deeply and penetratively. And this deep, penetrative, intense observation is on each observation. So one must put effort to be able to observe that way on each and every observation. So when you apply effort, viriya, you don't apply in a way or measure in a way, I'm sitting for 14 hours a day for 3 months. Yeah, that itself is an effort, of course. But one should measure his or her own effort based on each observation. If you apply effort on each observation from the beginning to the end without wandering, knowing quite deeply, meanings you know when this object begins and when it dissolved, and what happens along the way. If you can see or feel or sense that way, that means you are applying enormous effort on that particular observation of the present moment. So one must measure his or her own effort with each observation. It is not only I'm going for 1 month or 2 months or 3 months. You might be there for 3 months, but if you do not apply effort with each observation, with intensity and diligence, then you are not applying correct or proper effort. If you don't apply correct or proper effort, you won't have a correct mindfulness. If you cannot establish correct mindfulness, you will not have the samadhi, concentration. Without concentration, you cannot penetrate or see the true nature of mind and matter. So this is each and every observation. And the next step is to make sure this kind of superb mindfulness, of each superb mindfulness, becomes continuous and constant. That is the next level. To be able to observe or establish that kind of superior mindfulness continuously without a break and a gap. Only then one would be able to understand exactly what this mind is and what this body is. And in here, Buddha just doesn't say you must be able to observe continuously and constantly. He doesn't stop there. He still teaches us in details how to do it. If you read long discourses or the long version of the Satipatthana Sutra, you will see it. And here he talked under the heading or the word called Sampajanya. We're talking about it. Divided into 4 groups, we have dealt with it. And in here, there's one of that 4 is called domain. Okay? A yogi must be in the domain of a meditator at all time. That's what it means by continuous and constant mindfulness. If you are out of the domain, you won't be continuous and it won't be constant. And when you are in the domain of a meditator, okay, that is called Gosara Sampajanya, domain of a meditator, how to note, okay, in general details of being mindful. And in here, he just doesn't say, meditate, be mindful, and see as detailed as possible. And under the detail, the Buddha subdivided into 7 groups how one can maintain the continuous, constant mindfulness without having a break and a gap. And in here too, we must understand right at the beginning, okay, Sattaka Sampajanya. And there the Buddha said, whatever you are doing, it must be suitable, it must be appropriate, the right time, the right place. So in other words, whatever you are doing must be, okay, in accordance or in harmony with the condition or situation you are at. So the conditions of our lives, even in one day, varies and changes a lot. Based on that variation, we must know how to apply this mindfulness appropriately and suitably to what level, to what degree, in what manner. Okay. That's a lot of adjustment based on the condition is required. And if you don't, some people just put a fixed formula, nail in your head and do it with the strictest sense of mindfulness. One will not progress that much. Because our life varies, especially a layperson who have a family, who have a job, who earns a living. Okay. There are so many situations and conditions and environmental changes. And with those things, one need to do appropriately and suitably. And again, those people, when you are in retreat, the way you meditate becomes also different. The emphasis becomes different. And also, if one is a monk or a nun, the way they have to meditate, the way they need to meditate, the way they need to behave become different. Changes, changes, changes. And under what condition, how one should or must do that totally depend on the common sense of the person. You must know how to adjust, how to be mindful at what kind of condition you are at. The first one we already talked it. Okay. Out of the 7 group, we have dealt with the first one already. When stepping forward, one knows stepping forward. When stepping backward, one knows one is stepping backward. In the last Dhamma talk, we went through only on that in detail for an hour. That's the first of the 7. And in the second of the 7, what Buddha said is, when one is looking forward, one must know one is looking forward or ahead. When one is looking sideways, one must know one is looking sideways. In the sutra, Buddha only put those 2, forward and sideways. But of course, through centuries down the line, there are many teachers have risen, the wise and the holy came in, and they have so many different type of students. Everybody trying to find a loophole and go around. That's why it become more and more details how to do it. Not only that, it adds on. One must not look upward. Okay? One must not look back. Okay? One cannot even having a straight face, but play with your eyeballs to various directions, because everybody tries something, so the instruction become more and more details throughout time. So this is looking forward and looking sideways. And in here too, as we have said, it must be suitable with the condition. Let's go first of all with in retreat how we do. Okay. Whenever we are doing a walking meditation or when we are going about in daily activities, we need to open our eyes. Okay. Especially in formal walking meditation, you face forward, look about 6 or 7 feet in front of you. In other words, open half eyes open. And you don't go sideways or up or down or looking around. The reason is, the more you go into many directions, the more external objects come and bombard, and it will have effect on your concentration. For that reason, it has been narrowed down to that level. And also when you are looking down, you are not staring the surface about 6-7 feet in front of you. You simply gaze. You are not trying to keep your eyes to focus. The purpose of that keeping open is so that you won't trip over anything or any obstacle or anything that might come, animals or insects or ants or people. That's the purpose. You have to know that way. You have to have a common sense in that way. And if you are truly meditating, if you're mindful of each and every movements of your walking, lifting, pushing, dropping, lifting, pushing, dropping, if your mind is really penetratively focused on the present moment of all the movements of walking meditation, at that moment Of course, your eyes open, something is in sight, but everything is in a very hazy mode. You cannot see anything clearly. Not only that you don't see anything clearly, you are not aware of anything with clarity in terms of sight. If you are truly focused on the movements of your walking, there may be a person walk past by, or a person come opposite to your direction. Of course, there's a certain awareness of somebody walking or pass by. But if your mindfulness is strong enough, if your concentration is on the movement, other than that is a shadow and a person pass by, you do not know anything more than that. You don't know who it is. You don't even know whether it's a man or a woman. You simply have a slight moment of awareness, something passed by. That is how it is. And that kind of seeing, okay, seeing associated with that level of knowing is bare seeing. Totally, it's simply you stop on a dime at the process of seeing. Nothing goes beyond that. And to be able to do that, one must be totally focused on the present moment. In this case, is the movements associated with walking. Sight is a lot stronger dominant object. When somebody passed by, if there's attention to it, that object took over the awareness of the movement. But if your mindfulness is superb and the concentration is strong, that sight do not become the dominant object at that moment anymore. That is an indicator that you are applying superb effort and superior mindfulness, and you are having the right concentration. And if you have that right and powerful concentration, there's no if or but. Whatever you are experiencing with your walking, you already have insight, which means you exactly know the true nature of whatever objects you are observing. They are all interrelated through cause and effect, cause and effect, cause and effect. That is bare seeing. That is bare knowing. Nothing beyond that. Only then you can say there is no lobha associated with it. There is no dosa associated with it. There is no craving and no aversion, because you simply know as an object, nothing beyond that. That is on a walking meditation. Regard to seeing, okay? Looking forward, you know that you are looking forward. Looking forward, you know, but the way that you know, based on the power of your concentration level, is totally different. That is that condition, that situation. But let's change the condition, different setting. Okay, of course, we all walk around, but let's use an example, because all these Dhamma talks are delivered based on how a yogi or a monk live or lifestyle. In those days, the monks, they're meditating, even 3 months, rain retreat, that's a time to meditate, 3 months intensely. But their lifestyle is, in the morning they have to go out for an alms round to get food. They are not allowed to have a livelihood, to make money and to buy foods and to eat. They live on the charity of the people. So in the morning they walk, and when they are meditating, it's about a mile or two away from the village where people live. So they have to pass through little lane, little path, little forest, or if there's a field, the little earthen mound that divided one field to the other. From those, they have to step over to go to the village. And in there too, the Buddha said, one must know when looking forward, one is looking forward. One must know when looking sideways, know that you are looking sideways. And there, you cannot look with a little hazy eye. You have to have a little more focus. Okay? Focus in terms of your adjustment of your eyesight. You must see the path clearly. You must know the mound. It's only about 6 inches or 1 foot wide between one field to the other, little earthen mound, you walk on it. There might be pieces of woods or slivers of bamboos sticking out. There might be some creatures passing, living there. So one must be able to look those places to a level that you can see all these things, you can walk without any inflicting danger to yourself, to other animals as well. So in here, the way you look is different from the way you look or you are gazing while you are in a walking meditation back and forth of 20 feet. You apply differently. You must be aware, you must look, you must know, but still the word is, when you are looking forward, you must know that you are looking forward. Not only that you are seeing everything and absorbing everything, you simply see things. You simply see things. When you see things, you do not have any hatred or anger towards it. And when you see things, to all the objects, all the people, all the person, all the insects, you do not have any aversion either. No hatred, no aversion, no likes, no dislike, no prejudice, no favoritism. With that mental state, you are seeing. With that mental state, you are looking. Only forward and sideways. Sometimes you have to turn. That's why the Buddha said sideways. You see and you know that you see. And whatever you are seeing, there is no mental defilement associated with it. That's mindfulness. The same mindfulness. That is samasthiti, correct mindfulness. For that condition, under that condition, all that, okay, the benefits you get out of mindfulness is, the mindfulness guard you like a shield from the mental defilements. You do not be attacked by lobha, dosa or moha. That's it. Nothing beyond that. But when you are walking 20 feet back and forth with great concentration, it's not only that it guards you away from the mental defilements. It developed, associated with a certain powerful concentration, you see the true nature of mind and matter. So based on what condition, based on what you do, the result associated with are different. And one must know how to apply, when to apply, and what kind of things you get. One yogi asked me, how do you know your mindfulness is good? Your mindfulness is always good if you apply correctly as instructed. But based on the condition and the situation, the results are different. That is how one apply mindfulness suitably, appropriately, with a time and a place. And you cannot expect exact result, duplicate result in different conditions, but they all produce good benefits. And once one knows how to apply and when to apply. That's why one must not look up or backward or tilt your heads so that your area of your vision becomes cinematic. When it becomes cinematic, the more objects come in and the less chance of developing concentration. That is the second of the 7. When looking forward, know that you're looking forward. When looking sideways, know that you're looking sideways. And one must have a common sense to apply appropriately with a condition, situation, time, and a place. Regardless, if you apply correctly, first and foremost, mindfulness manifested as a guard, a guardian from mental defilements. That is second. And the third group, what Buddha said one must observe is, when one is bending, one must know that one is bending. When one is stretching, one must know one is stretching. Bending and stretching. He split that one separately. Okay? Looking at sight is one thing, this one is bending and stretching. Why bending and stretching? Why does Buddha put it separately? If we reflect our life, okay, everything we are doing always involves bending or stretching, bending or stretching, bending or stretching. Those are the two movements. Bending movement and stretching movements are the most common movements or the manners that we act throughout a whole day. So something that happens a lot with a high frequency, if you observe that, it's easier for you. Bending and stretching. The easiest, the most simplest one is your hand. We are always bending the hand and stretching the hand, bending the stretch and stretching the hand. Okay. There's another one. Let's see, sometimes your head. You're there, you bend down to look something on the table. You bend down to read a book. You straighten up, bend down, straight up. The head is always bending and stretching. Your hand is always bending and stretching. And also your body. If you look at your body, you are not like a straight like a stick all the time. It's always from your waistline level, always there's bending and stretching, bending and stretching. And your legs too, there's always bending and stretching. Every part of your body, there's always bending and stretching. All that you need to do is to be aware, whichever part of your body is bending, know that it is bending. Whichever part of the body is stretching, know that it is stretching. That is the highest frequency movement in your body, bending and stretching. That's why Buddha put it separately. A group, a special group to pay attention to observe. Some people don't really pay much attention, but this is the highest frequency movement in your whole body of your behavior. And also there is one point like to put in. Quite a few yogis, okay, quite a few persons make a comment, especially they are very well advanced meditators from different samatha method. When they come in and they practice, as they have a very good fundamental background of concentration, they excels very well. Their mind is strong, determined, and they experience, and one common theme or the comment they make is this, okay, rising and falling movement, or this full foundation of Satipatthana. In reality, it's not full foundation, it is simply kaya nupassana, okay, mindfulness of the body. Because everything, your tummy rising and falling, hands stretching and bending, everything is body, 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 body. Actually, you are observing the body. This is not full foundation of mindfulness. When you say this is, because this method is known in the West as Mahasi technique. So they criticize Mahasi technique as simply kaya nupassana. That is the way they criticize. Of course, Mahasi Sayar, whoever say whatever they want to say, he doesn't go into engagement and confront and explain, don't do. He simply teach what he taught. He taught what he always say. But at the same time, if you simply clearly listen to what he taught, all the answers are there. You'll find whether your criticism is correct or not, is the answers already there. Okay, let's take an example here. One simple thing that we do in a retreat. Most of the people do all the time. Whenever starting with a sitting, going to sitting, you bow down 3 times. Whether you get up, you bow down 3 times. You see, there's quite a bit of bowing down. Okay, every hour, on the hour, and so on and so forth. Bowing down. Buddham pujemi, Dhammam pujemi, Sangham pujemi, and then we sit down. We finish the sitting, we bow down. When we sit down, we bow down. So let's look at bowing down. Yeah, bowing down, what you do, you put your hands together, you put your bend your whole body, the hands, the forehead, all touch the floor. The physical movement, you're observing the physical movement. Yeah, that's it. Mindfulness of the body. Touching, touching, bending, bending, stretching, stretching, pressure, pressure. Yeah, superficially you can see it that way. But let's look at it. If you are a serious meditator and follow exactly as being instructed, and you have been practicing for some time, you simply sit down. When you sit down, you don't automatically go and bow down. If you automatically sit down and bow down, that means you have no mindfulness. You sit down and you are going to bow down. Why did you bow down? Because you want to. You wish to. You have intention to bow down. First and foremost, one must know your intention, intending to bow, intending to bow, or wishing to bow, wishing to bow. And if you are not superficial, if you are penetratively mindful, you will know your intention. And you will note intending to bow down. What is that? Intending to bow down. Actually, you know your mind. You know that you wish to bow down. You know that you intend to bow down. Intention. Mindfulness of the mind. Citta-nupassana. Okay, and then you bow down. Stretching, stretching, bending, bending, and so on. What is that? That is kaya-nupassana. You know every movement of bowing down. And then while you are doing there, at one point, depending on what situation you are, some people have a back problem, some people have a knee problem, some people have a shoulder problem. While you're bending, at a certain point, at a certain stage, there's a pain just shoot up. Just like, zip. That's it. At the one point of your bending. And then when you go farther, that pain is gone. If you are truly mindful, you are aware of the pain. And when you do it regularly, you exactly know around about what angle of your bending you will have a pain. After you have experienced about 100 times, you know exactly. Before you don't. What is that? Vedana-nupassana. Vedana-nupassana. And then you bow down, touch, again, kaya-nupassana. And then we all say, Buddham, Bujemi. You heard the sound, hearing. What is that? That is Dhamma-nupassana. And then, earlier times, when you're doing something, there must be a pain at your back. Normally, it's a certain level of pain. Sometimes, that pain increased dramatically for a certain reason. When the pain suddenly increased, what happened? Fear, worry arises. What happened? Fear and worry. If you're really mindful, you know exactly that's a worry, that's a fear. And what is that worry and fear? Worry and fear is Dhamma-nupassana. Okay. Be careful about this. If you are observing, knowing the mind, okay, knowing the mind with fear. If you are observing the mind with fear, that is citta-nupassana. You are observing the citta, you are observing the consciousness. But if you are observing the fear itself, not the mind with the fear, just fear, that is Dhamma-nupassana. You must be able to distinguish separately. Are you observing the mind with the fear, or are you observing the fear? The mind with the fear is citta-nupassana. Fear itself is a Dhamma-nupassana. What is fear? Okay, in Dhamma-nupassana, one of the set of things that you observe in Dhamma-nupassana is 5 hindrances. It's a Dhamma-nupassana. Kama, Chanda, Nivarana, Vyapara, Nivarana. Second set. Ill will. Fear is under that group. So these are the subtle differences, and one must have a clarity. When you know with clarity, when you understand with clarity, you have insight. Otherwise, it's a hazy understanding. You don't even know whether you're observing the mind or you're observing the Dhamma. When you are intensely, fiercely mindful, these things really simply pops up and there's a clarity. You know that you're observing the mind. You know that you're observing the emotions. Emotions itself is Dhamma. The mind or the consciousness with the emotion is consciousness. There are 89 types of consciousness. You are observing one of the 89 at that moment. That kind of clarity must be there, and it will be there if you apply a superb effort on that one single noting at the present moment. Don't worry about the effort for other times, time coming. Just that one single moment. And that is the effort. Measure your effort with a single noting. And then measure your general effort with the continuity of these single noting. Then it becomes an all-rounded effort. Samavariya. Very correct, very thorough. So, in here, what we are trying to say is making a point. There's quite a few criticism on Mahasi technique. It's Jeta-nupassana. Now you see just single bowing down. When you finish bowing down, from the beginning to the end, and if you are fully, thoroughly mindful, you are observing the Jeta-nupassana, you are observing the Kaya-nupassana, you are observing the Dhamma-nupassana, and you are observing the Vedana-nupassana. Of course, while we are observing, we are not saying this is Dhamma, this is Jeta, this, that. No, not that. But you are successively one after the other experiencing one of the four groups, one after the other, one after the other, one after the other. And when you are experiencing those things, they are different one from the other. The material is different from the mind. Okay. Vedana, feeling, is different from the consciousness. Dhamma is different from the physical, material phenomenon. They are all different objects. They arise and pass away. They arise and pass away. They arise and pass away. And in one single bowing, many sets of these four foundations have arises and passed away. And if you apply the mindfulness correctly as Buddha has instructed, you will experience these things all. You don't have to think, you don't have to put into conceptual words or sentences. Simply you are experiencing, but deeply connected. And if you are deeply connected again and again and again and again, don't worry about the concept. You will understand the concept without the concept in a very imminent, prominent, deep way. I said deep because those understanding, those feelings are you, and you are those feelings. Cannot be separated. That kind of understanding arises. So, this one is, we just talk about bowing down. Okay? But in here we talk about two sets. The first set is while you are looking forward, know that you are looking forward. While you are looking sideways, know that you are looking sideways. And then we are talking about bending and stretching. So we have covered 3 sets of how to do out of the 7 sets the Buddha has given us. We'll carry on with the remaining 4 sets in the next Dhamma talk. So may all of you be able to practice Satipatthana Vipassana meditation correctly and precisely, diligently, with full effort, and may you be able to experience the true nature of Nama and Rupa, mind and matter, as soon as possible. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Buddham pujami. Dhammam pujami. Sangham pujami.